I know Olive is supposed to look like a dommy mommy here, and then Ivy goes down on Olive, and
That's not
Olive's
the right word.
grabbing that leg. Welcome to our first live webtoon Rose. I'm really excited to be doing this with everybody, especially with my two guests. Chainsaw is a professional animator, and this is his YouTube channel. He also has a comic called Kill All Heroes. That is an action superhero comic. Havish, also aka Jess, she has a completed, guys, with 84 episodes, called The Witch's Stone. The first comic we are going to talk about is The Knights of Kalon by Frostbite. It is a fantasy action comic. Your thumbnail art is great, although I feel like you don't need your title card and the evil eyes on top in the thumbnail. I feel like those can just stay in the comic. So you can just make your art bigger and it would just look so much more cleaner. Regan Kingston is our main character, and he is a knight in training. There is right now a monster crisis thing happening, and he's placed under Sir Felix, who is an archery mentor guy. But Sir Felix doesn't actually want to train Regan. Let me move on to the prologue. Really cool background here in the beginning. We see a woman walking in the forest. She is foraging for some herbs or stuff. And then she hears something like snap. So she runs and she's chased by a very creepy monster. The first episode, we see a castle. This is our MC, who is called Regan. And then we meet another person called Beckett. They're both recruits, and they're both trying to go to a village. Eventually, they get lost in the village because someone has no sense of direction. Regan, this blonde guy, he sees a vendor there. He was gonna ask for directions, but then he has this very weird smile. He starts going insane, okay? Like he's seeing demons while looking into his eyes. But then to only find out he's just normal. And yeah, we don't know. We don't really know what happened, but that's pretty much episode 1.
The first thing is like the way the words are placed in the squares. I think they could have just gone with like a very simple like white block.
I think
and then
they're
all of a
kinda
sudden
going for a scroll
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, they're going for a scroll, but I think I would have gone with a white scroll maybe. And then the background is just green. The rest of the episode, like it's just green everywhere. The tree placement is weird. It just looks like toothpicks with a bunch of broccoli on top of it. And then I don't know what she's collecting. A bunch of weed. A bunch of cats right there. I don't know what that. I don't know what type of herbs these are. And then we have this shot of this giant monster just launching at her. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Maybe there are no monsters.
Yeah, maybe it's just all in the head. But there is a shot also where like her legs disappear. Grace is moving in the wrong direction when the legs disappear as well. Like it's like moving forward instead of back. I don't know what type of weird levitation this is.
It's really just the background's holding it back for me. Like there are some, anatomy mistakes here and there, but I don't really think those are that important. If you do like a good establishing shot, the rest of them, the audience will fill in if they've seen what it looks like. If I were drawing that, I would have found a reference photo looking down a street.
That's true.
And just copied the the perspective lines to draw in your buildings. I think they're using this soft brush on all the backgrounds to try to make it look distant, like it's blurry or something. But I think it would be better to use a hard brush and then blur the background if you want it blurry. The characters themselves I thought were really cute and really expressive. I think that their text is a little too big and their panels are a little too close together.
The text seems to be almost touching the bubbles at this point.
The text doesn't need to be that large. Like, I made the same mistake in my comic when I started it. It just takes up too much space on a phone screen, like all you're looking at is a wall of text. If your text is too big. That first box is too high up because whenever you open it on the phone app, there's a little pop-up at the top.
True. In your intro, in the synopsis, the author did mention about this person called Sir Felix, who seems like a very vital character in this comic, but this guy hasn't showed up yet. And I guess I would have liked, like, if you have a vital secondary character or another main character in your story, it would be nice to have a little teaser in the prologue. Art-wise, pretty much agree with what all of you said. I caught a little something in the prologue in the beginning where it says here, is that one I need? Should have wrote, is that the one I need? Like, this is a little tip for everyone. You guys, as an artist, you don't want to draw the hands, you don't want to draw the legs, just cut the frame in half and make it look like she's running by using speed lines. It would have been so much nicer to see windows with doors and like platforms and all that stuff. Even with soldiers and guards, I would have been much immersed in it. They just need a little revamp, just need a little work on the background. The characters, you pretty much got it all.
Yeah, watch some Bob Ross. You know, that's a good way to learn how to do backgrounds. You know, you get to learn about conveying distance and stuff.
Or you can even use like 3D. Just place a bunch of cubes in 3D space, and I mean that should help.
Our second comic is The Bird Became My Elf Husband? Huh? By Haruka Yusuke, and it's a romance fantasy comic. Your thumbnail is great. It shows all the great colors and style of your art, and it's very shoujo manga. People who like romance will want to click on your comic. Basically, one day after work, Stella finds a dying canary that basically it's a bird that is actually an elf in disguise. Apparently, there's also an expiration date on the portal to Earth from the elf dimension. This is our main character, Stella. She's thinking about, oh, today's work again, huh? I don't feel like going, but nevertheless, she goes to work. When she's walking, even like just being on the streets and whatnot, people are constantly talking about her behind her back. She reaches her office. She meets these two guys there in the office. They straight up like ask her like, hey, aren't you the girl that braked some guy's arms? And then she's like annoyed, like, I didn't break his arm just happens to have been broken. They were both like scared suddenly. Well, on her way home, it started raining. She started chasing her umbrella. She sees the dying bird, the canary. She decides whether or not to put it out of its misery. But in the end, she decides, don't worry, I promise I'll save you instead. And yeah, that is pretty much episode 1.
When I went through the episode, I was just like, I didn't know where she was when she was coming and going from one environment to another, whether it was a workplace or outside, where she it was just very confusing. And also some of the panels, I feel like they're not using the space very well for some of the panels. I mean, some of them could have been much bigger.
Let me give context to the chat real quick. I'm now viewing this comic on desktop, so everything looks okay. They look big, but if you guys are on the phone and you're reading this on the phone, it's actually way smaller. So that is actually a problem. I guess, true, I would have liked to see more establishing building shots.
Or when the water's like slowing down, like falling from the sky, that's actually pretty cool. It's a good effect.
The rain here.
Yeah, when the rain like slows
cool
down
panel.
and falls, that's pretty cool. That's a cool shot.
This one has the opposite problem of the first comic. The text is too small. You've got a lot of tiny text. A lot of it's kind of redundant, you know? Like, I don't think that you need all of the text, like Chain said, to convey what's going on. And I actually think it would be better if you just started the comic with her at work about to leave. If you focused on drawing her, like focus your energy on drawing her office. You show an office building. She's sitting at a desk. Her internal monologue would be like, well, not many packages today. It's been an easy day at work. And then you hear them have their little chat about her breaking some guy's arm, which I'm assuming is going to be important later. She's like, all right, well, I'm going to go get some crepes. And there you go. You got like the whole thing in like 4 thought bubbles. You just need to have more faith that your reader can figure things out without stating everything, because they can. People like to figure things out. They don't like to be told everything.
Don't ever do see-through text bubbles, guys. No see-through text bubbles.
Oh, really?
Don't do it.
I do see-through text bubbles.
See-throughs are
Don't do
fine. This one is fine. Look at this.
Don't do it, dude.
You want to fight about it?
Yeah,
Wait.
don't do it.
I would have preferred to see like your whole episode 1, just 20% of Stella's life personality, her at work, 30% about the dying bird where she's gonna nurse it back, and I would have loved to have like 40% elf lore in the first episode and 10% finding out like, oh shit, the portal is about to close, what are we gonna do? Will be a world conflict. I like this little umbrella scene where she's popping the umbrella up. I think the pop text here is very cute. More of this great expression. This will do wonders for your comic. The next comic, everybody, drum roll. Da, 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 da. Oh shit, guys, I can't say this. We're
Say it for you.
really digging Rebels by Just Grace Does Art, and it's a sci-fi action comic. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. Basically,
Yeah.
the whole world revolves around a material called viridium, and it is controlled by a government, and there are rebel groups that want this material as well. Our main characters, called Olive and Ivy, are somehow connected to this material as well, and the whole comic is they have to find out like what's up with this material. I love your thumbnail. The character art is very eye-catching, although I wish Olive was in there as well, because I feel like a 2-person thumbnail would also be very good for the comic. Very cool words here. I like the little city backdrop in the words. In our first episode, we see 2 people running away from a building, and then someone pops out from the top of the building. It is seen she's sliding down, and she got a little thumbs up for the characters that are running away, and they turn back and also give them the thumbs up. I'm gonna assume these 2 are the rebels. They get into their getaway car and someone approaches this character. She turns back and she sees Olive. So if she is Olive, she gotta be Ivy. The second episode, basically, they decide to have a little sparring session. Olive swings at Ivy, and then Ivy goes down on Olive, and then she kicks her in the back, but holy shit,
Stop.
Olive's
the right
be
word.
grabbing that leg and swoosh her in this panel, and she falls. But she apologizes like, oh my god, are you okay? And then someone at the back here, we don't know who, zaps her. And this is a really cool shot of the bones and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much episode 1. And episode 2.
I wanted to say I love the texture and the colors and the lighting of their artwork and their expressions. Again, this is another one where they're really good at expressions. In the first episode, like the first part, the action was really unclear to me what was happening. And then in the second one, it was like too clear. Like the whole action sequence takes place like from the same perspective, and it's kind of boring to look at.
It's all just
Right.
front cameras and horizontal front
Yeah.
cameras.
The story seems interesting. I love the colors. Like it looks very futuristic wasteland, you know, with this kind of sickly green and the oranges.
In the first episode, however, when Ivy is jumping down from the building, that building is way too small for her body. Like she looks like a giant. Boom bigger, girl smaller, and it will look amazing here. I understand you wanted to do like a black fading here, so you can just fix this up real quick. I also kind of wish the thumbs up were like bigger, because I was confused what was happening in the first place. I didn't see her giving the
Yeah.
thumbs up to them here, because this panel was like a lot of lines happening and it wasn't focused that they were giving the thumbs up. Bro, come on. It's a getaway car. It gotta be more badass. Like, you could like just trace an SUV. I know Olive is supposed to look like a dommy mommy here, but she looks way too big for Ivy here. If you go to the second episode, they're about the same height. Maybe Ivy is slightly smaller.
So because Chains is the action guy, we asked him to make some visual aids. I think we all kind of thought that where it was lacking was the action sequences, right? So since Chains is our action guy, we asked him to draw some like storyboard of how he would panel it differently to make the action sequences more interesting.
Hell yeah. Bring up the slides.
Look at the slides, everybody. This is dedication right here. Chainsaw's part of the presentation will be on his channel, so If you want to see the full analysis on how he can storyboard this comic better, go check out his channel instead.
So, oh yeah, the one other thing I forgot to mention is like the 180 rule, which is also something like where you don't want characters to flip sides. Sometimes you can break the rule, only when they're switching sides, like in one of the panels where she switch sides, you can maybe switch it around a bit, but normally you don't break that rule.
Just know that Chainsaw has a professional career in fighting scenes and animation. So me and Jess, we are romance, fantasy, slice of life creators. We don't do animations as much.
I will say I was impressed. Like, all of them had good expressions, which is something that I struggled with when I started. You know, expressions are not easy to nail because there's a lot of nuance in expressions, and all three of them did really well with that.
What I see everyone is struggling is mainly the story that they're presenting. There really isn't well constructed prologue where it includes both introductions, the conflicts, and character goals. Like, I would have liked to see all these three things in the first episode alone. With the story, you just keep learning. It's an experience thing.
I think they just need to utilize the gutter space more. There's a lot of them didn't utilizing like the full extent of the gutter space. I don't know. These people might only be picking up vertical format now. They might not figure that out yet.
You know what? As much as we all like to critique comics, we also have to remember about our humble beginnings. And I will be the one to go first over my humble beginnings. Basically, this is my first episode of my comic Dear Alice. It was really rough when I first made it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this a whole thing because I was just experimenting. She kind of looked like Wendy's burgers. I decided to revamp the episodes for my book that's coming soon, and I gotta say, it looks way better here. You know, you can actually see what's on the bookcase. You know, there's more background stuff. There's more little elements in the background. Now we have to move on to Chain's humble beginnings. This is Chain's comics before. These are his covers for his comics before his revamps. And honestly, Chain's,
the covers,
they look really good.
The covers is like the first of the first that I think I did.
Yeah. Like Kill All Heroes cover was banging before the revamp as well. Chainsaw did his revamp, and this is the after covers.
You got a lot better at faces.
Faces, muscles.
You definitely improved.
Given that it was like over a 6-month period, I mean, this is crazy.
Now, we have to go to Jess's humble beginnings. Jess's first episode of The Witch's Stone, which actually you didn't do a revamp. I'm really impressed. I revamped my comics like nobody's goddamn business. And I'm really like happy that you decided not to revamp your comics.
You can see it in all of its glory. Like my text, what I was talking about, the text bubbles and stuff, like I learned that the hard way. Like my text bubbles were wonky. Notice my absent background too behind that couch. No background, just couch.
But look at this. Look at just last episode compared to the first episode. Like
Luna definitely she got a growth spurt, guys. She is thicker in the newer episodes. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Jess is feeding her child, but goddamn, Jess.
She got a little booty
it's
here.
Just the way she's sitting.
Please promote your video.
Oh yeah, the short film me and Jess did. Jess had some awesome like voice acting, so you can hire her as soon as you want. She's pretty cool at it. So,
we're gonna hire her. Hell yeah.
Everything else is on my channel, so if you want to follow me, we have a webtoon, whatever, it's all there on the channel.
Oh my god, Jess has a new comic.
The Witch's Stone is finished, so if anyone wants to binge a whole series, it's finished. If you like The Witch's Stone, you'll probably like this one. This is Sarah, and when she finds this strange man in the bog, unraveling the mystery of what happened to him. I think I want to start posting those on Instagram, because I haven't posted on Instagram at all while I've been working.
Follow her on Instagram. Coming in June, I will have a comic book out, all of the episodes. Compacted in a 200-page book. Comes in hardcover, softcover. It's gonna be on Amazon, and I'm gonna be personally selling it as well for the Southeast Asian audience.
Existential crisis guided by really cute characters.
That's basically the comic, actually.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
And
listening
do better.
to us.
I want to see you do better. If after my great advice you still fail, okay, I will find you.
joking.
Just know that.
Guys, he's joking. Keep on submitting, and hopefully we'll do this again in the future.